Welcome back to the Wellness with Delaney podcast. Today I'm sitting down with Meghan Cody. She is the founder of Graceful Glow Co. and an expert on all things holistic beauty. I mean, you can just tell if you're watching the visual version that she is really doing something right. If you are tired of the constant loop of us having to feel like we have to get Botox, fillers, procedures, expensive treatments in order to feel and look our best at any age, this episode is for you. We are going to get into all the natural, non-toxic, holistic hacks for beauty and wellness at any age. Meghan, thank you so much for joining.
Yes, Lainey, I'm glad to be with you, and I'm really looking forward to this conversation. I feel like it's something that so many women are thinking about, so let's talk about it.
Yes, I love it. I'm so excited. Okay, so diving right in, can you tell me about your skin transformation journey from your 20s until now?
Man. Okay. Well, I feel like we need to insert a picture on this video
Yeah.
because my skin transformation journey is what inspired Graceful Glow Co. I, in my 20s, had a lot of things going on. My husband and I got married young, and then we had kids young, and then we launched a business when I had a baby, less than a year old. And so, I mean, just taking care of myself, I tried, but it was on the back burner. I'm 35 now too, and so I feel like the information was just not even out there 15 years ago. Like I was grasping for things, and I knew I wanted to take care of my skin naturally. I mean, the word holistic was not even being said online. Facebook was barely a thing. That might not be fair, but just these discussions weren't happening, and so I started diving into what I could find on literally Google and Googling information. There was no one making trending videos about how to do holistic skincare. And so for me, it really started with making my own stuff. Like I realized at 20, and no one was having this discussion, but I realized at 20, there's a lot of bad ingredients in our makeup, in our face washes, in our soaps. And I knew it was a problem, even if it wasn't being discussed. My mom had raised me very holistically to look at food ingredients. And I just kind of intuitively knew my skin is my biggest organ. What I put on it matters. Why are there dyes and synthetic fragrances in my makeup? Like, this is not okay. So I started making homemade makeup. I started making homemade face wash. I made homemade lotion and soap, and some went really great and others did not. The homemade makeup looked great, but I smelled like my kitchen cabinet. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like cocoa and cinnamon. I smelled like a baked good. And I was so grateful that a few years down the road, things started coming out. Companies were starting to produce. And I even had the thought, I would love to create my own clean skincare or makeup or something like this. But I happened to fall into another line of work first. And I'm a health coach and business coach. I got started in that arena, and this kind of just took a back burner. But all that to say is I was making my own skincare. I I had quite the transformation. I mean, my skin was dull. My skin was very puffy. I'm sure, Delaney, you've heard of cortisol face. Like that's some of the
Mhm.
pictures, very dramatic before and afters of me. You can see on my Instagram channel. And essentially, I was just running on not enough sleep, high stress with being a new mom without family around. We lived in a different state. I was boss babying with my business in that era. And essentially, just I wasn't giving my skin what it needed in my body from the inside out. So it started with making my own clean ingredients and using those. And then I wasn't taking care of myself in a holistic way. So I started to work on sleep, hydration, stress management. But I'd really say sleep and stress management are two of the biggest things. And so then I started feeling a little better, but that glow still wasn't quite there. I still, even though I was like, my body looks good. Like I'm doing the right fitness things. I'm exercising hard, sometimes a little too hard. That was the CrossFit era. And why is my face like looking so puffy and honestly older than the rest of my body is and how I feel? And so that brought me on a journey of, again, no one was talking about this online or videos, but this journey of figuring out facial fascia and facial yoga and the lymphatic system. And that essentially, oh my gosh, for some reason, my body retains a lot of fluid in the face and retention there. And I had that cortisol face. And so I started doing manual manipulations with face yoga and started using red light therapy a few years back too. And that was really, I'd say, like, I was layering the different things to move towards more holistic skincare. And but those were the things that cupping and facial manipulation with facial yoga. Those were the things that really took my skin to the next level, where my jawline started showing up again, and my eyes were bigger and brighter, and my lips started filling out all naturally. I've never gotten Botox. I've never done injections. I don't want them. And so I did those things, and that's what inspired us to launch Glow. It was kind of a long 15-year journey that got us there. But I felt like I'd kind of found the cherry on top, the thing that when I did it, which would be cupping and facial yoga and red light, it was like, oh my gosh, this covers a lot of issues, and it helps me to feel really good, but to know that I'm actually taking care of my skin from the inside out. Does that make sense?
Yeah, I love that journey. And I love, because, a lot of people really like glorify their 20s and think after their 20s it's all downhill from there. And I think that like it's really cool to show that actually it's not about being in your 20s, like that's your prime. It's about how you take care of yourself. And from your 20s
Totally.
to now, you've seen such a glow up inside and out because you
Yes.
prioritize your health. You mentioned you had cortisol face. What is cortisol face and where does it come from?
Yeah, yeah. So cortisol face, you can look that up online and have a really fun time with that. Or like look at, I don't know if I can plug my channel, but Graceful Glow
Absolutely.
Co on Instagram, and you'll see that transformation for me. So cortisol face is where when you have high stress, you're getting poor sleep. Essentially, you're not taking care of your body and your nervous system, or it's very heightened, and the stress and the inflammation just starts to show up in the face. Now, some people will get cortisol belly, and you can get both. You can have inflammation in the whole body. For me, I only really experienced it in my face, where my face was very swollen and inflamed because of my lack of sleep and because of my high stress levels. And essentially, as human beings, we are made to handle stress. So it's not like you have to live this retreat lifestyle and you can't have kids and you just got to be peaceful. It's like you just need to have the right tools to know how to manage the stress. And then, as I've told some of our clients who are like, oh my gosh, like I'm using your tools and they're helping, but I have not gotten control of my life yet. I'm like, that's okay. Use these as a tool to help you look better, and in like the short term, and it's going to help with your lymphatic flow and your blood flow and all of that. But we really have to address, how is your lifestyle and how are you living, in order to reduce that cortisol face. So cortisol face is where you are inflamed in the face. It looks really, really puffy because of stress in your life, because of poor sleep, because of poor habits. It can even just be one of those. For me, it was very highly stress and lack of sleep. And so it manifests in the face, and it will kind of look like, I don't know if this is politically correct, but like in my pictures, I looked a lot heavier than I was.
Hmm.
And the reality is, I actually like weighed less then when I had cortisol face than I do today. Everyone's blown away by that, but I weigh more. I weigh it more now than I did then, but all my stress and inflammation was showing up here, and lots of trapped fluid. It's like a lack of health in the face, would be like layman's term, simplest way to say it.
Yeah. Wait, I'm so glad you said that too, though, because I think that common pushback I see on the internet, and I'm sure you see that, is like, no, you just lost weight when you show the before and after. A lot of people be like, oh, no, you just lost weight. But like, I think it's so important that you just address that you actually, this wasn't a weight loss journey.
No.
This was purely inflammation. And I think that's really important for people to know because that is common pushback I see on the like transformation content.
Totally. Yeah. And I had my own health journey. Like I lost weight with having babies, things like that. I have had a weight loss journey, and I shared that publicly online after having kids and postpartum. But I'm talking pictures in my 20s, which is like 2021, before I was married, before I was pregnant, my face looking like a balloon. And I was pulling out some pictures recently, actually, and Delaney was like, you know, I bet this was bad lighting. This is pretty like bad. I don't remember being this bad in that season. And then I looked at the picture, and I was standing with three of my closest girlfriends, and I was like, no, we're all in the same, we're all in the same shot in the same lighting. I just really looked horrible in that season. And I knew too that it was cortisol face for me. In that picture, my really dramatic before and after that's on Instagram, because in a picture a couple months later, where I remember, because I was preparing for my wedding, I remember pretty vividly before getting married, how much I weighed, because that was just such a thing, in that era. And so all that to say, I looked at that picture and I was like, okay. And then a couple months later, my face was looking better. I had graduated from college and started getting sleep. So I graduated from college, started getting sleep, and all of a sudden the inflammation went down in a matter of weeks because I started implementing some of those habits.
Mm. That's really interesting and really good to know. I know I used to have a lot of inflammation in my face as well, and a lot of it was over exercising, and I wasn't eating enough protein. I was vegan,
Same.
and yeah, and like you put your body in stress, it can come from so many places, and often like I think that women, I think men and women, but like speaking to the women here, we have this mentality of more is better. The harder you work, the more you grind. You
Right.
have to do 2 cycle bar classes a day
Yeah.
in order to, and it's like, no, slow down, back up. Rest is just as important as working hard. There is that perfect balance. There's a slope of the curve. And once you go too hard, it actually is not good for you.
Right.
And I wish that more women could see that. So,
Totally.
okay, moving into, I know you mentioned you've never gotten Botox. Can you tell me a little bit about your thoughts on Botox, like why
Yeah.
you don't get it?
Yeah, okay. So, I mean, I think a lot of women, I just like first want to start saying that you have to do what's right for you and you have to go with your gut instincts. So many women are not going with their gut instincts. Like, I've watched so many colleagues go and get Botox and get breast augmentations and all these things. And I'm like, you go, girl, with what you want to do. But I think the question is, are we really asking ourselves, is this what I truly, truly want? Or is this a standard that's being put on me by other people? I know that sounds so simple, but especially Delaney, I know you have some 20 something followers. And I just really want to encourage you, like, if you want to go inject your face with something, and I'll give you my thoughts on it, but if you want to go inject your face with something or put something synthetic in your body or get augmentation or whatever, have plastic surgery, I would really challenge you to look first at who are you following online, and is this really what you want or just what you're seeing in front of your face nonstop? Because I remember there was a season that I felt like because I had B cups, like I should probably get a boob job. And looked at it, I was like, why do I think that? Because this is a pretty big deal. I don't know. I'm squeamish, and I think that served me well. I was like, I why do I think this? And I realized it was because so many business partners that I was doing coaching with were going and getting their boobs done. And again, if that's what makes them happy and what they really wanted, hats off to them. But I came to a realization of I actually don't even really want that. Like my boobs fit my body really well. So why would I go and do that just because it's what everyone else is doing? Okay,
Mm,
so you have to ask yourself, what do I really want? And frankly, am I being manipulated? Like I'm going to use that word, am I being manipulated or persuaded just by the beauty standards online? And am I maybe even being manipulated and persuaded by filters, not even
mhm.
real women, but by filters? Okay, so that's the question I want to start with first. But then how do I feel about Botox personally? It's not something I want to inject in my face. I don't even think we know the long-term ramifications of it yet. I mean, yeah, you'll hear people say, especially estheticians that are doing the injections or doctors doing the injections, like it's been around for a long, long time. And it's like, all right, sure, but in the doses women are getting right now. I mean, I remember women getting Botox when I was growing up and in high school. And it was just smaller doses than are being typically nowadays. And so it's like, do we know that? Do we know the actual, like, what's going to happen 30 years from now if you're dosing a ton of Botox in your face starting in your 20s or even as early as your 30s? And then the biggest concern that I have with Botox is watching women who have been brave to share that they have had Botox illness as a outcome of getting it. And it's really fascinating, Delaney, because usually it's not like the first time you go and get it. So you think, okay, I'm not allergic. I am totally set. I can do this. It seems to be that at some point for some women, not all, maybe you could go get Botox for the rest of your life and be fine. But for some women, at some point, there's a tipping point where the toxicity in their body can't handle it anymore. It's like, hey, you're injecting stuff into me. You're injecting stuff into me. And I can only take so much of a toxic load. And the body seems to hit a tipping point. And so for that reason, I'm pretty uncomfortable because where do you know that tipping point? And I can even like point to a few influencers online who have shared their journey out loud. I can't think of their names right now, but I can give you after if you want to put in the show notes. But
Yeah.
and I've just been so fascinated by that of like these women sharing. I actually did Botox for years, and then all of a sudden went and got an injection. I had these adverse reactions. And so I guess in essence, this is a two-part thing for me that I'm uncomfortable putting that in my body. Um, and some people aren't, but I'm uncomfortable with that. I don't want that toxic load. The world is already toxic enough. Like we think we can control so much, and we can, but there's things we can't control. You walk into Target or you walk into the grocery store and there's Lysol everywhere, there's junk everywhere. There's you go out to the gym, there's fragrances in your gym. I just want to lower my toxic load as much as I possibly can. And then and my final thing with Botox is I think we start to, and this is very personal, so I hope no one comes at me for this, but I think we start to lose like the essence of who we are. And what I mean by that is when you inject in your face, you're changing something. Okay, like maybe you're cleaning it up and enhancing. Some might say that, like, like we put on makeup or I did my hair today. I did enhance my hair, right? I did put on lip gloss. I did enhance my lips in that way. But you start with a little and it's such a slippery slope. That's the part that makes me the most uncomfortable is that it seems like when is enough, it just becomes more and more and more. And we start to lose our natural faces. And for me, this is my personal belief. I'm a Christian and I love the Lord. And I'm like, God made you beautifully. God made you beautifully and wonderfully, and He didn't make a mistake with you. And so this is a very dramatic stance, but I feel like it's almost messing with like who you were created to be and the image that you were made in. And
Mhm.
that's a very strong personal opinion. I know a lot of people don't share that with me, and I'm okay with that. But that's for me. I was like, I don't want to mess with how God made me to be.
Yeah, I mean, we're on the same page, exactly. Everything you said. Like, yeah. And I think it's one influencer that did share, she developed a lot of autoimmune illness from Botox, Alex Clark. If you guys are
Mhm.
curious, go look at her journey. But it's so true. I mean, it gets to this point, like, where is the end when you
Where's
start to
the end?
alter? Like, it's one thing and then the other. I've never met a woman who is like, okay, now I'm done. There's always
Right.
another goal to reach when often, I mean, I think true beauty is tied to our health internally and emotionally and spiritually. Like, and we look our best when we figure out how to take care of ourselves and actually be the healthiest we can be, which we're going to get into today. Because I think it's really important where, yes, it's good to care how you look. It's good to want to present yourself gracefully. I agree with that, whether or not, and if it's good to not care, it's up to you. But really what we should be doing is doing it in a healthy way that's optimizing our wellness, because often what we're trying to do, so let's say you're getting Botox, injecting your forehead to reduce that tension, but that's actually coming from like the back of your neck, right?
Absolutely.
So when we're injecting one thing, we're no longer addressing the health issue that's causing that, right? Health, like there's normally a root cause to the physical manifestations we see on our skins and on our
Yeah.
body. So it's really important to be like, okay, this is a symptom. Why am I getting tension here? Oh, like let's work on that, right? So
Yes.
with that being said, I know you have solutions for that. I know you have
Yes.
tools that really help with tension, with lymphatic drainage, with beauty
Yes.
and glow. So let's start with the cupping. Can you tell me a little bit about cupping, like what it is, where it came from?
Yeah, so we have a set, a couple of different tools that I call them Botox alternatives. Now, we're not freezing the muscles, right? So it's not like a true Botox alternative where Botox is a quick fix, a quick injection. But I love our tools because essentially I was like, I do want to smooth out my wrinkles. I do want my jawline to look really snatched. I do want my lips to look full. And we can train the muscles in our face. It's really funny because people are sometimes like like blown away by our tools and in the best way, and then sometimes they're also like, that seems so strange to me, I don't understand like how it works. And it's essentially, if you were to work out your body, you can sculpt the muscles in your body, right? We can actually sculpt and train the muscles in our face too. Our face has muscles, our face has fascia. And so we have our glow glass facial cupping, or as I've been calling it, our no tox, because it's anti-botox, our no tox facial cupping. And what that does, if you've ever done cupping in the body, similar but without the bruises, when you cup the body, it's helping to release tension in the muscles because people do cupping on the body for pain, right? And it's helping move and train those muscles to go back into place. We can do the exact same thing with the muscles here, with the muscles here, and especially with the muscles here up in the eye area, like hooded eyes. We have a lot of clients that have beautiful before and afters with using our small cups on this eye area, and their eye becomes so open because they're training that muscle and fascia to open up. And then even the lips, same thing. It's really fascinating. Did you know, Delaney, not only do we lose collagen in our lips as we get older, but also the muscles start to turn under a little bit. So
Wow.
we're training the muscles to come back out and essentially to pop and to have that natural pop, as well as like collagen being flooded to the face with the cupping. And so that's what cupping does, is it helps move the muscles, and it helps with blood flow, and it helps with lymphatic drainage. So your face is going to be bright from cupping, but it also is going to help it be open and more defined too.
Okay, I love that. I mean, it's really inside out beauty, right? Because it
Yeah.
feels so good. I've been using your cups as
Yeah.
much, like maybe 5 nights a week, and it
That's
feels
great.
so good. I feel like I can see the lift right away. It feels relaxing. Like any tension I'm carrying from the day really does go away. How is this different from like freezing the muscle? How is like myofascial release and myofascial care different from like freezing the muscle when it comes to results?
Yeah, yeah. So I mean, imagine we go into the muscle and with Botox and we freeze it. That muscle is no longer working. So for some reason, when I explain it this way to women, it clicks. So imagine if I like froze my arm and I stopped using my arm, or I got a cast and I stopped using my arm. What happens when the cast comes off? It's weak, it's flabby, it's
Hmm.
not working well. It has actually weakened, okay? So our face is no different. And so it smooths it out, but at the cost of the muscle no longer working. So what will happen over time, and I'm not saying this happens in the first year of doing Botox, but over time, your muscle is going to become weakened. And guess what the fix is going to be? You're going to need more and more Botox for it to look okay and look good. And that is how we end up, with some women looking so plasticky, where it almost is like they have so much Botox injected, you know what I'm saying? Where they look almost like a
Hmm.
Barbie because they've needed more and more and more doses to keep up with the weakness that's happening in the breakdown of the face. The face muscle is not getting exercised or used anymore. And there is a fine line because we don't want to be doing this all the time, right? Or else then we end up with a furrowed brow. But we do need to have natural expression in order for the muscles to, I think, stay the way they're meant to be. And even bigger than that is when you inject, you are going to slow down that lymph flow and it becomes stagnant. We're not moving the face as much, it's so much more frozen. That's going to lead to stagnant lymph and and less of a blood flow happening there. So what's going to happen? The face is not going to look as glowy, and the skin is not going to look as good.
That's really good to know. And even beyond that, then if you have that like that toxic buildup, right? Because you're not moving lymph, there's got to be some other like immune and maybe even autoimmune like potential there because we
Yeah.
need to be draining our lymphatic system. That's like the garbage dump of the system. So
Yes.
it's super important. And then I even see sometimes like I hear stories of like a woman's face getting droopy on one side or something
Oh,
because the muscle like atrophies. Do you see that a lot?
well, and I'm not a doctor. I'm not an expert on anything with Botox. This is just my personal opinions. But you can follow some different websites online, and everyone's like, can't trust everything you see online. But I follow a handful of doctors who talk about Botox illness and Botox. What's the word they use? Like Botox gone wrong essentially. Because Botox, the other reason why I'm so uncomfortable with it is it can migrate, right? We're injecting something and hoping it stays, and it can migrate. And you see these images of, Botox creeping out of the lip or an eye getting funky. And it's just like, oh my gosh, I don't want to. And I just think to myself, how many women don't talk about it or show their face, and they're just like, I want to stay out of public eye for the next 3 months while this fixes itself. And I mean, I have girlfriends who they've had that happen to them. They're in their 40s and they are feeling not as fresh, and they haven't bought my tools yet. And they've gotten Botox, and or some of them even before I launched my company, they're getting Botox, and a couple of them have had migration. They're like, I was so ashamed, so embarrassed. I just tried to stay at home. I didn't take a picture. I didn't even talk with my doctor about it. I just had migration out of my lip or kind of funky. One of my girlfriends had like a bulge in her forehead. And I'm just like, no, I just don't want that.
No, definitely not. Which no shame to anyone. If, for my Botox girls listening, this is no by no means to shame you. This is just to bring a side of education and information to allow you to make informed consent because that is truly the most important thing. Megan, do people ever accuse you of lying about Botox and filler?
Yes, all the time. And it's really funny because I mean, I'm like, I don't know what to tell you. I don't know what to do other than like, hey, look, I have full expression. I have worked very hard to train myself to express less. And I use our tools religiously. I also use frownies for the forehead. And so I just think that I just don't think that you have to. I get accused of that, I think because my skin looks good, right?
Yeah.
But I don't think we have to do injections to look and feel really good.
Absolutely not. I think it's like a paradigm shifter. People think in order to look good past like 25, that's what you need, right? I get accused of that and I'm in my 20s, but it's because I started frownies really young in my young 20s. I've started doing facial fitness young. I'm using your tools all the time. People always accuse me of Botox and filler. I'm like, I don't know
Yeah,
what to tell you. I guess it's working. I know Helen, the owner of Frownies, gets that all the time as well.
yeah,
But it goes to show like there are options out there. I mean, you don't have to choose between looking and feeling your best and going the toxic route. There is a natural route. It just takes consistency and time and effort, but it's so worth it. Okay, tell me about your red light.
yeah, yeah. So our red light wand, that I mean, I'm gonna give you a little backstory. So my husband, he had Lyme disease and was very sick from it. And one of the things that his holistic doctor recommended, by the way, he's been healed of Lyme disease, but one of the things
God
for
bless.
pain management, yes, that's a whole nother story, but it plays into all of this too. But his doctor recommended red light therapy for pain management. And we were like, we'll do whatever you say. Like he was doing all the things like just traditional medicine, typical medicine, Chinese herbs, and then all of these anti-aging, essentially anti-aging things or biohacking things for pain. So we learned a lot through that. He bought a full body red light panel for our house because his pain was so bad. Those things cost multiple grand to get one that's like the right therapeutic grade. And I started using it because his doctor was like, oh, by the way, it's like great for your skin and for anti-aging. And I was like, hey, okay, well, we bought this thing. I'm going to use it. And I was breaking out really badly at the time from stress. And unfortunately, I don't have great pictures. I really want to find one, but I just covered up with a lot of makeup at that time. Whereas now I like to do pretty minimal on my makeup. And so, anyway, all that to say, when we started using it, my skin cleared up. Red light therapy totally cleared up my breakouts and my acne. And I was like, this is magic. Like, what is happening here? So I started to research therapeutic red light therapy and started to understand that therapeutic red light therapy will heal at a cellular level. And I'm saying therapeutic because there's lots of red light devices out on the market and on TikTok that are literally a red light bulb. It's not therapeutic grade. Okay. So you have to make sure it's therapeutic grade. But all that to say, we were so inspired by that. And when we launched Glow, we were like, I bet you we can develop a small handheld device. The red light masks were already out. And I was just like, I don't know. I had a couple of them. I was like, I'm just not in love, not anti, but I was just not in love with like sitting there with this thing on my face. I was like, I think we can come up with something smaller, more compact. I know when I travel, I'm not going to bring this face mask with me. No hate to them, but like, let's get something simpler for the face. And so our manufacturer worked with us to develop a small red light wand, and it has a mild microcurrent in it. And I say mild because it's not going to like shock you like some of these devices online. And so that's going to help with lymphatic flow too, and just lifting and tightening slowly over time. And it has a warmth feature too. So between the microcurrent, the warmth, the red light, that helps penetrate any serum you put on your face deeper into your skin, so you get the benefits of that serum maximized. So that's a little bit about it. And now I love using it because it's simple. I do it at bedtime, like when I'm reading, and I try to remember to do my full body red light panel because it's good for the whole body. But I often just am like, like want to take care of my face and neck. I'm just going to do my red light wand because it's that easy and it works that well. So that's a little bit about it. I find that most women love it. especially for acne, or if they want like that glassy skin tone, because essentially what our red light wand does is it helps with the skin tone. So think of any sunspots, dark spots, age spots, even fine lines will gradually help over time. So skin tone for the red light wand, and then like facial structure for like the cupping. The cupping helps with facial structure and tightening. So they do two different things, but they pair together really well to give you a glow up so good that you'll get accused of Botox.
It's incredible. Oh my gosh, I am obsessed with your red light wand. And I've tried a lot of the different red light wands on the market,
Yeah,
including like the biggest brand ones over the years. I really like how yours feels. I will like literally turn
you.
on my husband and I like to watch cooking show at night. And like
That's fun.
learn like come up with ideas of what to cook, and I'll like do it during a whole cooking show because it feels so good. And I've
Yeah,
noticed for me like hyperpigmentation is my biggest
that
goal
was
right
my
now.
goal. Yes.
Yeah, it's like, and this has helped so much. I do like 20, 30 minutes just chilling because it feels good. It feels like a massage.
Yes.
And I'm seeing such incredible results with it. Like I'm obsessed. And for those of you guys listening, also, if you're like, okay, wait, I need this, I'm going to link everything in the show notes, including a
Yay.
discount for you guys. So that way, if you are listening and you want to grab this now, you can save with my discount because I know that you guys all like, you all need to try this. I've been really obsessed and really loving these devices. I feel like that plus like the frownies plus like the face fitness magic, like a magic combination. I'm obsessed.
Yeah, and I do all of those things. And I know you'll link this to Delaney, but we have a discount for new customers. So just make sure if you guys get that discount for being a new customer, it's like 40% off. We just wanted to give our best discount right from the get-go. We're like, we don't want people to wait till Black Friday. We're just gonna offer it now. But to stack Delaney's code too for an additional savings. But yeah, I do all of those things in combination together. And I really think that not that we have to do everything. I feel like I've actually really learned to do the key things, but do the key things that move the needle forward. And for me, that has been using our glow tools and our serum and using frownies, and then always like wash your face at least at night, and use a good serum and use a good moisturizer, and use the tools, and you're going to be so much further ahead just for doing those things.
Absolutely. Yeah. Okay. So you brought up the glass skin, like with the red light, how it really helps with that. Your skin's obviously gorgeous.
Oh,
I
thank you.
mean, you can see on this camera, but also on social media as well, just like goals. So what are your top tips for the girlies who want glass skin?
Yeah, okay. So I'm like afraid I'm gonna make enemies on this one, but like the number one thing, I've already shared about the tools, but the number one thing that you can do is to avoid the sun. So there have been some really interesting, there's been interesting information, even a couple of studies coming out sharing that most aging of the skin is from sun damage, which was, I mean,
Yeah.
shot to the heart because I love the sun. I love the sun. And I mean, I get like two-toned now in the winter or in the summer. My face is like light and my body is tan because I'm like the most delicate skin is our facial skin and our neck and our chest. I still like want to be out in the sun, but so my suggestion is wear a big hat, put on SPF. And I know that there's so many, this one is going to blow probably a few people's minds, but I know that there's so many great tinted makeup SPFs. Don't hate me. Those are just bonus. They don't cover the same way like a white chalky SPF does. I know it sucks, but if you're gonna do it, like it's like the tinted SPF makeup is or the SPF serums or drops. Those are like a bonus. But don't skip your regular white pasty SPF. Like put that stuff on because it does cover more. You have to use like I can't remember how many, like a lot of pumps, like 15 pumps or something like that of makeup, I heard, of tinted SPF makeup to get the same coverage as putting on a few pumps of a white SPF that's just a little bit heavier, a lot heavier duty. So put
Mhm.
on real SPF, then put your tinted makeup on over if you want to. That's what I often do because I want that glow, right? I don't want to look like a ghost. Um,
Right.
so cover your face, wear a hat, and protect yourself because it will all of a sudden in your 30s hit you. Like I had hyperpigmentation even in my 20s, and red light is what really reversed that. So So protect your skin from the sun with SPF and with hats, and then use red light to help it not just look better, but it's actually going to help heal it. And those are really your main things. Other than, of course, I mean, I could say more. There's use water, drink water, drink a ton of water. Make sure that you a few times a week, or if not daily, have either like a electrolyte, or even just, so there's so many electrolytes of garbage, so I would say like a Celtic sea salt. Put a little of that in your water so that you know that you're getting the proper hydration. I won't go into all the science of that, but we need the right sodium. I'm sure Delaney's talked about this, but we need the right sodium levels to even be able to hydrate the cells. And those are some of my key things, other than like also really, really eat the rainbow, but not just eat the rainbow, eat high quality meats. I know you've shared this, Delaney, but it's funny, we have the same story in a way with how we ate. I was vegetarian and I looked like garbage. And I know there are some women that like are plant based and they love it. But I mean, that's when I had the most thyroid issues, is when I was plant based. And then when I switched over to eating high quality meats, we do free range, grass fed beef, and we do some chicken, a little bit of like wild caught fish. But when I started eating that way, and I still eat tons of vegetables and fruit, but I just started eating meat again, and I started looking and feeling a lot better too. And my thyroid issues started to get a lot better. I was on a thyroid medicine and I was able to wean down to a very, very small amount now. I don't know if I'll be able to fully heal it. I hope so, but I'm definitely getting there.
That's amazing. No, I'm so happy for you that you're feeling better because when your thyroid isn't working, it affects everything. Like your ability to function throughout the day, just the energy to like stand up and walk to the bathroom. Like it is so bad. And I think that so many people, obviously, now that so many women, especially, are experiencing this, but men as well. I'm hearing of men with Hashimoto's and low thyroid.
Yes.
It's so much our environment, our diets, the toxins, all the xenoestrogens and phytoestrogens everywhere.
Yeah.
We have to start looking at these things and figuring out what's going on so that we as a society cannot see this insane like epidemic of hypothyroidism leading into Hashimoto's. Okay, so with the sunscreen, I do have a question. So you mentioned the white cast. So I'm assuming, are you doing like mineral sunscreens, or like are you mineral sunscreen, chemical sunscreen? Where do you stand?
Yeah, mine is that I use is mostly would it be zinc, I
Mhm.
think, based? It's just like the white chalky stuff, very zinc based. And I just feel like it's the cleanest and gives
Yeah.
some good protection. So I don't know which ones you like or promote, but the ones that I'm using right now is I like, and we actually would love to have a sunscreen at some point, but they are so hard to formulate. We have tried like how many, maybe 30, 40 different
Wow.
formulations, and I'm just not going to launch any product into our company unless it's quality. So at some point, Graceful Glow Co hopes to have a super clean sunscreen, but it's like it's so hard. So I use Dime. Again, you're going to look chalky, and I think that that's zinc based, but I use Dime. I've also used a Cure. I think that's how you say it.
Mhm.
It's on the cleaner side, and you can just like grab it at Target or Whole Foods. And then I have really also liked. I have not checked how clean they are, but for the look, I like Supergoop's SPF, like tinted SPF. Again, I have not checked the ingredients. I just was looking for a little shine on vacation. But I put it on over my white SPF just for that like look with no makeup on the beach.
Amazing. Yeah, it's so important to like look for those. I love that you're doing the mineral sunscreen. I love that you're looking to formulate and that you are like taking your time to do it because it's important that it's quality. And I can imagine that'd be a hard one to test because, or to like formulate, there's a lot of testing involved. You like need to get the right consistency. You need to be able to prove that it has that
Yeah.
SPF. Big,
SPF
big
is
undertaking.
a nightmare because to get like the look you want, plus then not breaking out, plus not looking like a ghost, it's just like it's so hard. So I tell people honestly, I've even wrote about it in our Glow newsletter that I mean, I'm like, I have not found the perfect SPF, and we've tried to formulate it, but here's a few that I use because I have used a few where they look stunning, like the makeup SPFs, and then I break out and
Mhm.
I know it's not enough coverage.
Yeah. Valid, absolutely valid. Okay, so I know one thing you're really passionate about is partnering with the body as we age versus fighting aging. And I think these conversations, like people can often misconstrue these conversations about like reversing damage and preventing wrinkles and whatever as like we're fighting aging. I hear that women like, why can't you just let yourself age? So why is this different? Like, how is this paradigm shift something that you promote in your business?
Yeah, yeah. So, oh, our company technically falls under the category of anti-aging, and I use that word sometimes because it's just easy to kind of like cast that net and people understand, right?
Yeah.
Like I already have so many radical thoughts. I feel like on health and anti-aging, although it's becoming more and more mainstream by the day. But essentially, I think that aging is natural. It's a part of life, and it is an honor to grow old. Like it is an honor legitimately to grow old. I just think of I lost an aunt who was like a mother to me in her 50s, and I just think I imagine her now. You know, she passed away when I was pregnant for my son, so 12 years ago, and I wish that she was here aging. You know what I'm saying? I wish she
Yeah.
was here. I know that people don't think about that often with skincare, and it's a little heavy, but it is legit an honor to age. And so I take the approach, even though we do use the word anti-aging because that's our category, I take the approach and I believe that it's an honor to age, but we want to steward our bodies really well. We want to steward our bodies. We want to steward our mind. We want to care for the skin we're in. That's my tagline of Glow. Is it's like I want you to feel great in the skin that you're in as you age gracefully. And so aging is not like this disgusting thing that we want to avoid at all costs. It's an honor. And it's funny because, I mean, I know I'm going to hit a point where I'm like, oh, yeah, when I was that age, my skin was, more youthful or more elastic, or I felt like it was prettier then than it is now. But so far, from my 20s to my 30s, my skin has only gotten better as I've taken better care of it and as I've learned how to steward it. Now, again, there's going to hit a point, but I just feel like that's the power of caring for ourselves, our bodies, and our skin, and every bit of ourselves, our soul, our minds, caring for it and stewarding it. Is it's like we can get better and it can be healthier, and we can feel really good at any age. That's the bottom line. Is it's like how do I feel really good where I am now? And I have some women say to me like, and it's funny because when I was in my 20s, I was like, oh, when I'm in my 30s, I'll be old enough to run these businesses. And because I started businesses like 22 or 23 or something like that, maybe 24, I don't know, early 20s. And I got accused of being young, like you're young. I had a lot of women who are very encouraging mostly, but I had some people that were like, well, just wait until you're older, then you'll understand. You're really young. And I remember thinking maybe in my 30s, when I'm like 15 years older than now, I'll feel old enough and mature enough. And now that I have a anti-aging company, I get accused of still not being old enough. So, and then all of a sudden I'm going to turn 40, I'm going to be too old. So it's just like, I think the whole conversation around women and age, it can be so frustrating and a little bit ridiculous because at what age are you old enough to run a business, or what age are you qualified enough to talk about skincare? And I think that we have to be kinder to ourselves of, hey, we're all trying to do the best with what we have and we're trying to steward what we have, whether we're in our 20s, our 30s, our 40s, or 50s. And let that be a message to 20 somethings to never feel like you're too young to go after what you want. And you're definitely not too young to start caring for your skin, but also let that be a message for the women in their 50s and 60s who sometimes make snide comments and say, well, just wait until you're 50 or 60. And it's like, hey, I know I'll be there one day, and I'm not in your shoes, but would you have appreciated that if someone said that to you at your age? Or do you have a daughter? I mean, sometimes some of these things that women say, I'm like, I see you have a daughter in your profile picture who's my age, or a granddaughter. Like, would you speak to her that way? No? Then let's be kind.
Mhm.
That was a little bit of a tangent, but essentially, I think aging is beautiful. We need to be kind to ourselves and we need to be kind to others about it. And essentially, if I were to wrap up my long saga here, just steward your skin at the age you are.
I love that. Yeah, and like women, let's be each other's champions. And it's
Yeah.
already hard enough to live in this world
Amen.
without like the hate from other women. So I think it's so important that we encourage each other and champion each other. And I'm totally gonna butcher this, but it's even in the Bible. I feel like somewhere in First Timothy, like not disqualifying people because they're young.
Yes.
I need to get that actual like quote. But I mean, we need to not disqualify people who are just going for it. And I think sometimes it does come from like people can project their insecurities on others.
Totally.
And so often when someone is coming at you or is being rude in one way, it's because like your success, your speech, like whatever you're sharing rubs up against someone else's insecurity, whether they're insecure about their age or about wishing they had done something, whatever. So it's like we need to work on ourselves, our souls, our insecurities, have confidence inside that helps us treat others well too. I mean, it's also all encompassing. So really important.
Yes. Yeah,
So I
and
think,
kudos. I have to just say kudos too to the women who are so encouraging
yeah,
and amazing. I run into that more often than not. I find it so interesting that people online talk about how there's so many haters and blah blah blah. And I'm like, there are sometimes, but my experience overall has been mostly great with
yeah,
women of all age online. But I also go into it expecting that, number one. And number two, I don't have a desire to create conflict online or to be controversial unless there's something really important to me that I need to say. I just think
yeah,
there's so many people trying to stir the pot online and I'm like, you don't have to be a jerk. You could you could
yeah,
try to have some awareness and kindness.
yeah.
And so I just want to say like I kudos to all the women out there that are supporting women of all ages, and I think that that's really beautiful, and we just need even more of that kindness, and I see so much of that goodness in the world already, and I expect it, and I think you often will get what you expect.
Because you're putting it out there, right? Like, are you coming out in the world defensively or
Right.
open and just with the confidence and the kindness that you're putting on others because you're open? Okay, so Megan, what are your current health goals?
I love that question. Yeah, so I think right now for me, I'm really focusing on longevity and what am I going to be like in my 80s, 90s if I'm so lucky to live into my hundreds. And it's funny. I was actually talking with a coach on my health coaching team the other day, and she's my mom's age, so I want to say she's about double my age. So we're at a different age, and I'm my number one strength finder is like futuristic and visionary. And I told her, I was like, Kim, I want you to think about like you when you're in your 90s or your 80s, and I want you to think about that when you're coaching your clients. And what does Kim look like then? I was like, because I think about like Grandma Megan in her 80s and 90s, and I make choices around that today. I know that that's like way more futuristic than some people can look at it. You could just call it longevity, but I'm focused on taking care of myself, not just for a quick fix. I think that was one of the things I left in my 20s is working out for a look on my body. Like I know working out is going to give me muscles and help me be lean and healthy, but it's like I really want to work out to be strong. I really want to work out to be mobile when I'm older. I really want to work out to be a grandma that people are like, "Are you the grandma or are you the are you the mom?" Like I want to have energy. I want to take care of myself. So I that's very vague, but essentially I'm working out and moving my body in a way that is going to both aid it in longevity, but also supporting myself as a female. I've been on this
Mhm.
journey for probably about 3 years of really syncing my exercise to my cycle and testing that for myself because there are some people that are all about that and they are like don't do anything the week before your period and then take those first few days off. And I was like, okay, I'll try this. Well, it just didn't feel right and aligned to me. So instead, I'm like, I still want to move my body. Maybe that's just me. I want to move my body as I'm getting close to my cycle and on my cycle, but I'm going to do it gentler. But I'm still going to go to the gym or my home gym downstairs every other day and move my body. So if I were to say simply what I'm trying to do, because I turn everything into a long story, Delaney, I
I love it.
really want to create health for my longevity. And so I'm focusing on different things to do that and different hacks using the sauna, doing walks. Like I've got a vest. I mean, all my friends I feel like are 10 to 15 years older than me. I'm wearing the grandma vest. I'm like, no one knows what age I am. They're like, is she 20? Look at her skin. Or is she 50 because she's doing perimenopausal things? Like no one knows. I'm wearing the vests when I'm walking, the weighted
Love that.
vest. And I really just want to honestly glow from the inside out and to feel really good.
I love that. Also, you're the third woman that I've talked to in the past like week who is on the weighted vest train. Some of them are even in their 20s. Like, I think I need one of these. It actually sounds like such a great way to optimize walking. Like,
Yes,
wait, hang on. That's amazing. No, and I
you
love
get
that.
it
I
on
love
Amazon.
yeah, I know. I'm going to order one probably today. I love that you're focusing on the longevity because it's true. The choices we make today will affect us
Yeah.
so much for the rest of our lives. And it's important to have that perspective, not just in the moment. It really
Yeah.
does connect us to like our legacy and what we're like bringing forth in the world. I feel like I've gotten to know you so much better from this conversation. And I'm excited for the listeners to get to know the face behind the brand on a deeper level from this conversation. Where can people find you, connect with you and your business?
Yeah, yeah. So I already mentioned Graceful Glow Co. on Instagram, one word, gracefulglowco.com is our website. We're on TikTok. I just got on TikTok. I think it's like graceful.glow.co. I don't know, search it. It's like a little blue icon for the Graceful Glow Co. You'll see my face. You'll see my cortisol face. Yeah, so those are some of the best places to connect. And then I often have my personal Instagram account linked on Reels on Graceful Glow Co. on Instagram. I love connecting with women. Like I will just say you can slide into my DMs and I will help you with your skin. And I am not pushy. Like I'm like, yeah, our tools will help you, but I will tell you, I'm like, I will tell you all the things I use and the different companies I use. I'm very for women and like a girl's girl in that way. And I don't look at it as competition. I go live with people who own skincare companies all the time and have conversations with them because I think that we're better together and it's better to collaborate in that way as female founders. So anyway, those are the places you can find me and I definitely love connecting with other women. So reach out and you'll get a personal audio message back from me. And I try to message all my new customers too and people are blown away by that. They're like, "Is this I've had a few people be like, "Is this for real or is this like a robot?" I'm like, "It's me. Hi." I really want to connect with women and care for them.
I love that so much. I think the personal touch goes such a long way in a world where everything is so automated. I love that level of connection. Well, Megan, thank you so much for coming on the show today.
Yes,
I've loved this conversation.
me
I
too.
am so excited for the women to be inspired. Also, guys, if you're still here with us, this is for you too. Let me say, like, this is
My
for
husband
everyone.
does these things. Like it took him a moment, but like he got me started on red light
Yeah.
therapy. He does his cupping. Now he doesn't want to use as many serums as I do, and that's okay. But it matters. Take care of your skin.
1000%. I feel like the men who have a girlfriend or a wife too, like they end up on the same
Yeah.
train. But thank you so much for having this conversation with me. I loved chatting with you.
I love chatting with you too. This is really fun. Thanks, Delaney.
Of course. Well, you guys, thank you so much for listening. I hope you have a wonderful rest of your day. Once again, if you are like, okay, I need this, make sure to head to the show notes. We will have a discount for you. You can stack my discount on top of the new customer discount for even more savings
Yeah.
on these devices. They are so life changing. And you guys, I hope you have a wonderful rest of your day.